The art of screen printing.
Welcome to the Art of Screen Printing presented by GSG. Hey, we're going to finish up our steps in the next few videos on our superhero emblem. Cory's going to work on the wedges, the gold and yellow kind of areas. Take that piece of it away.
All right, so we left off with the blue strokes completed, and now we're going to go ahead and do the yellow wedges. Let's go ahead and just look at the core color of those wedges. Go ahead and see how this is brought over from Illustrator. So in order to make our core color and our white base, let's make a selection of that, those wedges. I have already made a yellow spot channel for it. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that. And just like with all our other core shapes, we want to make that base. So let's go to Select and Modify, contracting by 2 pixels. And then let's go to, I have a white base printer channel set up here. So let's go ahead and fill that as well. I'm going to deselect. I'm going to turn my fabric on. Let's turn on those yellow wedges and look for that lip that we're always looking for. Okay, there's our edge of our yellow, and the white base is showing. This is not really as worrisome because we have this blue stroke around there, so it's going to act like a trap a little bit. So that base even couldn't peek out if it wanted to. It'd run right into the blue. Okay, and then if you can see the chrome that we had here on the wedges themselves, if you recall in our previous videos when we were building it, I had basically created a source file that we brought outside that we found on the internet, and we're just going to use that to knock out of our base. You can see all the intricacy in the chrome. Let's go ahead and make a selection of that. Let's go to that white printer, and I'm gonna hard the marching ants, and I'm just going to delete that information out. So you can see that now we have a lot of variation, but I still think this is too much. So I'm going to go hit it one more time and then one more time. So now we have a nice solid base. We have some real good fades. Let's go ahead and turn that on and turn on the wedges. And now there you can go. You can see the representation of those chrome breakups inside the actual wedges. I mean, it's still solid on the yellow, but the base is doing the work. All right, so the last thing we want to do here is our yellow highlights. And there they are. Now, looking at our breakdowns, look at the blue channel, it has strictly the white by itself. It has dismissed all the yellow, and now it's a perfect one to have. So I'm going to click and drag that down. And like all of our stuff previously, when we want white to be positive, we just inverse that channel. Probably helps when the selection's not on from the previous one. There we go. All right, this is still pretty heavy. I want some of this white to be blending. So I'm going to use my curves, and I'm going to kind of push some of this back. And you're going to watch this really arc down and around, but you're going to see how it changes this halftone area. So it's a little bit more of a blending white. So some of that yellow sort of peeking through, and it's keeping my hot spots in the white where they are, okay? And then I'm gonna make a selection of that information. I'm gonna go ahead and go to my highlight channel. I'm gonna go fill that in there. And then I also wanna take that information and select it, and I wanna put it on my base channel, okay? Hit it a couple times there. And then we also wanna knock it out of the white, out of the yellow wedges. Let's go ahead and turn everybody on. And there's our representation of this portion of the wedges. You can see that after we got done doing the chrome in this side, the wedge, and this extra highlight, I've added another bevel on top of that. So, because I love my bevels. And like we had done, actually, if I toggle up this back and forth, you can see that there's that shadow and extra highlight going on in there. And just like the purple wedges, when I created this originally, I wanted essentially, I didn't want to fight the other values here. So what we did was we go ahead and we actually filled this just a straight yellow, leaving us with just that highlight and just that shadow. Makes it much easier to extract that information. So under the blue, again, the white looks wonderful. So let's go ahead and pull a copy of that, and we're going to inverse it again. I'm going to make a selection of that, and then we're going to put it on its own spot channel for the moment. We'll bring them all together eventually, but it's better for manipulation purposes right now. So I'm going to get rid of that excess information. I'm going to go back up to RGB. Now we want to get that shadow extraction. Again, when it comes to that, I just get rid of the fabric for the moment because I don't want that excess information in the background. And it plucks this shadow really nicely. Look at the blue. There's no shadow there. It's just too dark. The green, We could use the shadow area, but we'd have to actually remove this other lighter values. But the red has it. It pretty much has got all the information and basically excluded the others. There's a little bit you can see right here. I'm going to hit my levels, use my eyedropper tool, and just get rid of it. Now I'm going to take this information and make a selection of it. And like we have with all other shadows, we go up to our white printer, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to remove that information. And you're going to watch it sort of disappear. So along this edge here, you can see it disappearing. I'm going to keep it down to about 24%. So it's not a complete knockout. Let's go ahead and turn on our fabric. And you can see now there's that bevel showing in the shadow area. If I turn everybody else on, you can see now the representation of those two things showing. But don't forget, you got to take that information on your whites and you got to add it. You got to add it to your base. Okay, so I'm going to hit it a couple times here, and then you want to remove it on your yellow plate. So let's go ahead and remove that there. Now we'll turn everybody back on. And now you can really see how the representation is going on where it needs to. There we go. Just like here's our original colorization, and here's our breakdown of the separation. And with the exception of some of the colorization of the yellow, which you can control on the press with your ink colors, everything here is represented as it needs to be. But again, pretty simple steps, but very effective to your separation process.
You know that the bevel effects with the shadow and highlight areas really give real dimension to it, almost built for the black shirt simulated process type of approach. And you really can use the garment and the highlight and the base really well on that. So turns out nice, really get quite a dimension out of it.
It does. Well, and also too, having those extra layers to help you create and break down those effects is also, having that knowledge really helps you make your separation look good and your print ultimately have a great result.
Very good. He's Cory. I'm Lon. We are Graphic Elephants, and this has been the Art of Screen Printing presented by GSG. We'll see you next time. Cory's going to put all this stuff together. We're going to have real separations. Thanks.